Welcome to the True Tomorrows podcast. Ready for another cool weekly science fiction probe? We're diving into wild galactic tales from flash fiction. It's like a blockbuster sci-fi, but bite-sized.
Totally. Today, we're taking our science fiction probe into two really captivating flash fiction stories. One's got this blend of old-school chivalry with crazy future tech, and the other throws a legendary hero into deep space, to confront his destiny and all that.
Exactly. First up is Sir Lancelot. It all goes down on this massive space station, Camelot Prime. It's orbiting a blue planet. The cool thing is it's not just your typical space station. It's got this mix of ancient architecture and super futuristic design. Like imagine classic spires and domes, but with sleek, modern lines all floating in space above this vibrant blue world. What kind of society do you think would even build something like that?
That's a good one. I think it says a lot about them. They clearly value their history and traditions, but they're not afraid of progress. It's like they're grounding their future in something timeless. Like even as they're reaching for the stars, they're remembering where they came from.
I like that. And into this world comes Sir Lancelot du Lac. He's this celebrated star paladin who's just gotten back from putting down a rebellion on asteroid B16. He's already a legend, but this just adds to his reputation.
Right. This isn't just some soldier. He's like a mythical figure in their time.
Totally. And get this, his armor is this amazing mix of old and new. It's got these medieval-style plates, all shiny and ornate, but it's also enhanced with high-tech stuff.
Oh.
And he has a cybernetic eye. How cool is that?
Yeah, that detail really stuck with me. It's like a symbol of how technology and humanity have merged in this future.
For sure. And the way Commander Argent greets him, you can tell Lancelot is almost like a mythical hero to them. It really sets the stage for this classic hero's return, but with a futuristic twist.
Definitely. But the story's not just about him, it's also about Queen Guinevere. She's getting ready for this huge event, the Great Assembly. It's a gathering of all of these diplomats and scholars from across the galaxy. This isn't just some meeting, it sounds like a really important moment for interstellar relations.
Absolutely. And her quarters are pretty awesome, too. They're described as elegant but practical, with holographic tapestries showing historical events. Can you imagine that kind of decor? Talk about immersive. And her clothing is a mix of royal elegance and modern practicality. It sounds like she respects tradition, but is also very in touch with the present. She's also known for her wisdom, fairness, beauty, and grace. When she speaks at the assembly, her message is all about unity for peace and prosperity. Why do you think the story emphasizes those qualities right off the bat?
I think it's to show she's someone worth protecting, maybe even someone to admire. Plus, her focus on peace and unity makes what happens next even more shocking. Right in the middle of her speech, someone tries to assassinate her with a plasma dagger.
It's crazy, right? This moment of vulnerability right in the heart of this grand assembly. What did you think about the weapon, the plasma dagger?
It's an interesting choice, right? It's high-tech and deadly, which kind of clashes with the classic Camelot imagery. I think it emphasizes how advanced this future is and how real the dangers are, even in what should be a super secure place.
Definitely. And Lancelot doesn't even hesitate. He's like a blur, intercepting the attacker and disarming them in like a second. His first thought is for Guinevere. He asks, "Are you harmed, Your Majesty?" It shows how dedicated he is, how much duty means to him. And Guinevere's response is interesting, too. She's totally composed, thanking him for his bravery. It shows she's strong and poised, even under pressure.
Yeah, that moment right after the attack is key. They share this look, this eye contact that hints at something deeper than just duty. It's like there's this underlying tension, a connection that goes beyond their roles. It's subtle but powerful. Later, we see Lancelot on the observation deck, and Commander Argent gives him some advice. He warns Lancelot that even though his duty is to protect the queen, his heart could lead him astray. It's that classic conflict, duty versus desire.
Totally. And in the days that follow, they start interacting more and more. They're still professional during meetings and stuff, but you can tell there's something there. They agree on a lot of issues, and they start having these deep personal conversations on the observation deck. It's like being out there looking at the stars lets them connect in a different way, away from all the rules and formality of the court.
Yeah, and then there's that scene where they're watching a comet together. It's this beautiful shared experience. Guinevere talks about how lonely it can be to be a leader, how she has to keep a certain distance.
Right. And Lancelot gets it. He talks about how people in their positions need to maintain a certain reserve. It's this shared burden that brings them closer. But then reality intrudes again. There's an emergency, a system malfunction on the outer ring of the station. Lancelot, being the head of the Paladin's engineering team, has to go fix it. And you can see the worry on Guinevere's face. It's more than just concern for the station. It's personal now.
For sure. So Lancelot heads out with his team, and things go from bad to worse really fast. There's an energy burst, a chain reaction, and the outer ring starts to detach. It's a total disaster in the making. Lancelot manages to stabilize it, which is amazing, but in the chaos, he and Guinevere end up stuck in a malfunctioning escape pod. And of course, it's drifting away from Camelot Prime.
Of course, it's like that classic story device throwing them together in isolation. How do you think being trapped like that changes things between them?
Well, it strips away all the formality, the barriers that their roles create. They're vulnerable, drifting in space, and they start opening up to each other in a way they couldn't before. Lancelot talks about his childhood, losing his parents, and how the Paladin order gave him a purpose. And Guinevere shares her own dreams and doubts about being queen. It's in that isolation that their connection really deepens. It goes beyond professional respect or a fleeting attraction.
Yeah. And against all odds, they figure out how to get the pod working again and slowly make their way back to Camelot Prime. That shared experience, that near-death experience, it definitely forges a bond between them. But back on the station, you know people are going to talk.
Oh, absolutely. The rumors start flying. Everyone's talking about the close call, the time they spent alone together. It's inevitable that people start to connect the dots.
Right. And eventually, Lancelot and Guinevere have to face the truth about their feelings. They meet in the station's gardens, which is interesting. This beautiful, natural space within this technological marvel. That's where they admit how dangerous their love is, the risk it poses to Camelot Prime. But right as they're dealing with all of this, duty calls again. There's news that rogue ships are threatening one of the outer colonies, and Lancelot has to leave immediately. You can see how worried Guinevere is. It shows how deep her feelings for him have become.
Absolutely. The battle is fierce, and this time, Lancelot doesn't win. The enemy fleet is too strong, and he's forced to retreat. Back on Camelot Prime, their conversation about the battle is full of tension. They're both thinking about their feelings, but they don't say it out loud. Lancelot talks about his duty to Camelot Prime, but Guinevere questions if they shouldn't also consider their duty to themselves. That's when they start thinking about using a diplomatic mission as a way to escape, to be together without all the constraints of their positions.
It's a big risk, right?
Huge. It's a gamble born of desperation. And tragically, it fails. Their ship is ambushed. It's a brutal attack, missiles and plasma fire everywhere. Lancelot tries his best to defend them, but the ship is too damaged. They have to send a distress signal. Coming back to Camelot Prime isn't the escape they'd hoped for. It's a return to a situation where their secret is out in the open.
And things get worse when they get back. The rumors explode. Everyone on the station is talking about the failed mission, the escape attempt, and the obvious connection between Lancelot and the Queen. The High Council calls Lancelot in, accusing him of recklessness and putting his feelings for Guinevere above his duty. They make it clear there will be consequences.
And Guinevere's not off the hook either. Different factions on the station see this as a chance to take her down. Alara, her advisor, warns her that her relationship with Lancelot has become a weapon that her enemies will use against her. It's a reminder of how fragile power can be, even in a society that seems so advanced.
Right. The pressure keeps building, and Lancelot and Guinevere are forced to meet in secret, less and less often. They meet in the station's archives, surrounded by all the history of Camelot Prime, to figure out what to do. Lancelot suggests they tell everyone the truth and face the consequences together. He's hoping that their love can somehow unite the station. It's a brave move, but also incredibly risky.
It is. But then, something happens that throws everything into chaos. Guinevere is kidnapped.
Right. It happens the night before they plan to make their announcement. The news sends shockwaves through Camelot Prime. And because of everything that's happened, the failed escape, Lancelot's feelings for her, people start to think he was involved.
It's terrible. Lancelot is betrayed by his fellow paladins, the men who used to trust him. They don't believe he's innocent, and he ends up in prison, completely powerless. Meanwhile, Guinevere wakes up in some strange place. Her captors a mask, and they don't tell her anything. But even though she's scared, she demands answers.
Wow. So what's the reason for the kidnapping?
It's a power grab. Someone wants to take over Camelot Prime, and they're using Guinevere to do it. With both Lancelot and Guinevere out of the picture, different groups on the station start vying for control, and things get even more unstable. But then, Lancelot gets some unexpected help. Alara visits him in prison. She believes he's innocent and knows they need to act fast.
That's great. So what happens? Do they come up with a plan?
They do. Lancelot, knowing the station inside and out, manages to escape with Alara's help. He uses all these secret passages and back routes to evade the guards. As he's making his way through the underbelly of the station, he starts to piece things together. And guess what? He uncovers a conspiracy within the Paladin order. There's a group of paladins who want to seize power, and they kidnapped Guinevere as part of their plan.
Wow, so Lancelot's mission changes. Now, it's not just about saving himself, it's about saving Guinevere and Camelot Prime.
Exactly. And while all this is happening, Guinevere is proving she's not just a damsel in distress. She confronts her captor, and it turns out to be one of the high-ranking paladins. He's driven by ambition and jealousy over her relationship with Lancelot. But Guinevere refuses to break.
That's awesome. So what's Lancelot doing?
He's gathering allies. He finds a small group of people, including Alara, who believe in him. Together, they come up with this crazy plan to rescue Guinevere and expose the conspiracy.
So what happens next? Is the rescue successful?
Well, it's a long shot, but they go for it. They launch this daring rescue mission, and it turns into a huge battle with the usurper's forces. The fighting spreads throughout the station. The climax comes when Lancelot faces the leader of the conspiracy one-on-one. It's this epic fight, a struggle for the fate of Camelot Prime. The usurper taunts Lancelot, tries to get in his head, but Lancelot's fighting for love, for honor, for everything Camelot Prime stands for, and in the end, he wins.
He defeats the bad guy.
He does. He defeats him and rescues Guinevere. Their reunion is this incredibly powerful moment, full of relief and hope. Together, they address the station, revealing the truth about the conspiracy and their love for each other. And because of everything they've been through, the people of Camelot Prime rally behind them. It's a moment of unity, but then...
There's a but. What happens?
Just as things seem to be settling down, there's an alarm. A massive, unknown alien fleet has appeared at the edge of the system.
Oh, wow. That's intense. So what happens next?
Well, the story ends with Lancelot and Guinevere standing side by side, ready to face this new threat. Their bond is stronger than ever after everything they've endured. And Camelot Prime, united under their leadership, prepares to face the unknown. Their story becomes a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. It's a pretty powerful ending.
It really is. That's Sir Lancelot. Now let's switch gears and turn our science fiction probe towards a different kind of hero in a totally different setting. We're talking about Hercules in space. Forget the myths of ancient Greece. This time we find Hercules all alone on the moon. He's standing at a lunar base looking up at Earth. It's this iconic image, this figure of incredible strength against the backdrop of space. What do you think, what kind of mood does that setting create?
It's definitely a mood of solitude, right? He's this powerful figure, but he's also isolated, contemplative.
Yeah, I get that. And then, out of nowhere, he gets a message. It's a holographic projection of Commander Nyla from the United Planetary Alliance, or UPA. She doesn't ask him for help. She gives him a mission. 12 tasks, like the legendary labors, but this time they're spread across the solar system. And these aren't just random tests of strength. They're crucial for the stability of, like, the entire solar system.
Such a cool twist on the classic myths.
Right. But Hercules isn't exactly thrilled about it.
Yeah.
He's not into being a cosmic errand boy. He questions why he was chosen and says he doesn't want to be used. You can tell he's struggling with his purpose, with his sense of agency. Why do you think the story starts with this reluctance?
I think it makes him a more relatable character. He's not blindly accepting his fate. He's questioning things, grappling with his own free will. And Nyla's response is important. She emphasizes his unique abilities. She suggests that maybe he was created for these challenges. But more importantly, she appeals to his sense of right and wrong. She tells him that these tasks aren't just about strength. They're about protecting the innocent, about fighting for what's right.
Right. So it's not just brawn. It's about morality, too.
Exactly. She's reframing the labors as tests of character, of his moral compass.
I like that. And it works. Hercules agrees to do it. His first task takes him to Mars to face the Nine lion. But this isn't just a regular lion. It's a genetically engineered monster that's terrorizing the Martian colonies. So it's the same basic idea as the myth, but with a sci-fi twist. What does this first labor tell us about the challenges Hercules will face?
Well, I think it sets up a pattern we're going to see throughout the story. Hercules is used to relying on his strength, but he's going to have to use his brains too. He can't just punch his way through every problem. He has to be smart and strategic.
I see. So how does the first labor go?
He goes to Mars alone, and during the trip, he starts having doubts again about his role in all of this. When he gets to Mars, he meets with Governor Tessa Lynn, who tells him all about the lion. She explains how it's practically invulnerable and incredibly cunning. So Hercules knows he's in for a fight. He tracks the lion to Valles Marineris, and the battle is brutal. Hercules struggles because he can't pierce the lion's hide. He eventually wins, but he has to use his wits, not just his strength. And even though he's victorious, there's this lingering sense of unease, like he's still not sure what his purpose is.
He's still searching, right?
Yeah, he's still searching. His second labor takes him to Europa. He has to defeat the Lernaean Hydra in the icy oceans under the surface. But this Hydra is even tougher than the one in the myths. Every time he cuts off a head, 2 more grow back. Hercules can't win, and he has to retreat. This really drives home the point that strength isn't enough. He needs to come up with a new strategy. So what he does next is pretty surprising. He decides to capture the Ceryneian hind, this creature from the myths that's known for being super fast and impossible to catch. He even puts together a team with advanced technology. It shows that he's learning, adapting, and trying new approaches.
I like it. He's not giving up.
Yeah.
So how does the mission to catch the hind go?
Not well. It's a total disaster. Mercury is this hellish, scorching world. They track down the hind, but it's got these crazy defenses. There's this massive energy blast that knocks out Hercules and his entire team. They have to retreat. It's a huge blow to his ego. He realizes that he can't just muscle his way through everything.
So what does he do after that?
He takes it hard. He doubts himself, blames himself for the failure. But then he does something really interesting. He uses that failure as motivation. He starts training even harder, studying strategy, and learning to think ahead. And it pays off. He takes on his 3rd labor, this time against the Aramansian boar on Venus. And he wins. He uses the planet's corrosive atmosphere to his advantage. It's a clever move that shows how much he's grown.
It sounds like he's really coming into his own. So what happens next?
He gets a distress call from the Augean space station in the asteroid belt. It's overrun with toxic waste. He goes to help, but it turns out to be a trap.
A trap?
Yeah, rebels who are against the UPA ambushed him. They capture him and take him to their secret base. That's where he meets their leader, a woman named Ilara. This encounter is a turning point for him.
How so?
Ilara challenges everything he thought he knew. She accuses the UPA of being corrupt and power-hungry. She tells him he's been fighting on the wrong side and urges him to join the rebellion. Her words really get to him. He starts to question everything, especially his own role in all of this.
So it's not just about physical challenges anymore. It's about moral ones, too.
Exactly. This is where Hercules has his big realization. His labors aren't just about strength. They're about choosing between right and wrong. He starts to see that he has the power to choose his own path, to define his own destiny. He decides he won't be a pawn anymore. He's going to figure things out for himself and fight for what he believes in.
Wow. These stories are incredible. We've got Sir Lancelot, this epic tale of love and betrayal set against the backdrop of a futuristic society struggling with its past. And then there's Hercules in space, which takes this classic myth and throws it into a whole new dimension, forcing us to think about what it means to be a hero in a complex and morally ambiguous world. What are your final thoughts on all of this?
I think both stories highlight how powerful these classic themes still are, even in futuristic settings. They're stories about duty, love, betrayal, and the struggle to find your place in the universe. They're timeless.
I agree. And they leave us with so many questions. What will become of Camelot Prime now that they face a new alien threat? And what path will Hercules choose now that he's broken free from the UPA and embraced his own agency? It's exciting to think about the possibilities.
Definitely. And I think that's the beauty of flash fiction. It gives you this glimpse into a world, sparks your imagination, and leaves you wanting more.
Absolutely. Well, that's our science fiction probe for this week. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into these amazing flash fiction stories.
We'll be back next week with more mind-blowing tales from the world of science fiction. Until then, keep exploring the unknown.
And don't forget to rate and follow the True Tomorrows podcast for more captivating journeys into the future. See you next time.